Why did Gooseworks decide to post fan artwork on Twitter? Does everything we've seen lately really tell us that we're about to see a new episode of our favorite digital circus? Hello everyone. It's been almost 4 months since the release of the pilot episode of Digital Circus, and don't you think it's about time to show us something new? But at the moment, we haven't even been told an approximate date. Or have they told us, but decided to play it so that we try to understand it ourselves? Let's find out in this video when we can expect the new episode and why I am absolutely sure of every word I say. It all started about a month ago when we saw an interesting video on the Wacky Watch website. As far as we know, before that moment there was a secret trailer, which after a while was changed to a small fragment of the new episode, in which Pomni is sleeping sweetly in his room. Even then there was talk that we would see the new episode soon, but it hasn't happened yet. And I'll be honest with you, even then it seemed strange to me, because apart from this so-called teaser, we haven't seen anything else. No leaks or spoilers. The teaser itself just showed us that each character's room looks unique and depends on the character and their mental state at the moment. While Pomni is happy, her room will look nice and cozy, but as soon as her mental state deteriorates, her room will eventually look like the room of a clown we all know. But that was only the beginning. 2 weeks ago, there was another spoiler that only a few people noticed. I'm talking about the image that the Glitch channel team posted. On the one hand, you'd be right if you said it was just a reference to an anime, but what if there's more to it than meets the eye? We all know that our Gooseworks, and in general everyone involved in the digital circus, is unhappy with the fact that many authors are using their project as a means of profit, making thousands of different animations that present our characters in a completely different way than they were intended by the authors. And this post may be a direct reference to the fact that this celebration may soon come to an end. It's not for nothing that Glitch said to keep their hands off the digital circus, and since it's too late to do anything about the pilot episode parodies, they have something else in store for us. Of course, it could be a trailer for the new episode, or it could be the new episode itself. But we'll talk about that right after we look at the whole premise of the new episode. After these leaks, we got to see the hottest thing we've ever been shown. Of course, I'm talking about the official Gooseworks spoiler about the new characters. Some of you might argue with me and say that this is just a common joke, but luckily for us, it's far from that. Let's remember life before the pilot episode, when we saw this picture with almost all the characters mentioned in the pilot episode. And after a while, we were convinced that this information was true. What if now the same situation is repeated, and this spoiler is screaming directly at us, that very soon we can expect more than just a picture with 4 new characters? I've already talked about all of these characters on the channel, and if you want to know more about each of them and who they will be replacing, you should watch this video. Of course, after watching the videos you are watching right now. Also, about a week ago, we were shown another shocking spoiler. To be honest, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just fan art or a joke, or maybe it's a full-blown shot from the new episode. But what if it is? We all know that it was Gooseworks who stated that Zooble is one of their favorite characters, and as such will be the subject of the 3rd episode. But if this picture is a leak of the 2nd episode, what do we get? Gooseworks' words and posts contradict each other. Have you ever thought that this is done on purpose? Because such a divergence of words encourages people to revive their interest, and against this background, the desire to wait for the new episode only increases. I really want to know which of these things are true. Gooseworks' words on the GlitchX 2023 broadcast or this strange picture from Twitter. Either way, it's like a warm-up for something incredible. Before I get to the hottest news of the week, I'd like to tell you something interesting that is making me more and more convinced that the new episode is very close. If you watched one of my previous videos, you remember exactly how Gooseworks treats content farm channels that use their creativity for profit. This situation happened a relatively long time ago, and I think all parties to the conflict have probably forgotten about it. And then Gooseworks said in passing that they would love it if people who are really big fans of the digital circus would make their work and send it to them. It seems these were just words, because there was no mention of it for the next month. And then yesterday a strange thing happened. I was editing a new video that you won't see until Sunday, and I started getting notifications with links to other accounts. Of course, I checked them out immediately and saw that Gooseworks had put their money where their mouth is and actually started posting some interesting fan works. At first, I didn't pay any attention to it, but as soon as I thought about the purpose of it, I realized everything in that moment. I'm not even going to say it's an accident, because she could have done it a long time ago, but she decided to post a lot of fan art right now. I think this is again part of a big campaign to prepare the audience for the new episode. Because the Gooseworks account has some animations of the digital circus, but here there are several at once. I'm sure it was done on purpose to draw the audience's attention to their blog, and thus to the whole digital circus project, because now the words Gooseworks and the amazing digital circus are synonymous. Of course, this was not said to offend the author, but just to emphasize how successful this project is. We've discussed a lot of things, but now it's time to tell you about the main messenger of the new episode. It also happened yesterday, and we saw a post from the Glitch team that their website where they sell their merch has been updated and that there are even some Easter eggs hidden inside. I'll tell you what they've hidden at the end, but I don't think you'll be surprised. This is about something else entirely. What do you think helped projects like Digital Circus or Poppy Playtime reach the top of the Olympus besides a well-thought-out plot and an interesting idea? Strangely enough, it is the various attributes associated with the game or show. And remember how at the beginning of the pilot episode, we were also encouraged to buy Digital Circus and thus spread the popularity of this show among all segments of the population. What if the update of this site was done on purpose these days because at least it will make viewers visit it again and maybe even buy something and thus increase the popularity of Digital Circus again? And these tantalizing words about Easter eggs will definitely make the audience visit the place. Therefore, having gathered everything we have now, I can safely say that the creators are fully prepared for the imminent release of the new and long-awaited second episode. I promise to tell you what is hidden on this page. If we click on this gray line, we will only get to the page with the well-known teaser of the second episode. I thought something new had been added, but unfortunately, I sat there for about 5 minutes and didn't see anything but a sleeping Pomni. We've covered all the most interesting news that can lead us to the second episode, so it's time to talk about what we can expect in the future. Using the pilot episode as an example, we saw that the creators don't put much emphasis on trailers. In fact, we only saw one trailer before the pilot episode. Let's talk about what we're going to see first and then talk about the dates. There are only 2 possibilities of what the creators can show us, and it will be either the trailer for the second episode or the second episode itself. I'm telling you that if there will be a trailer for the second episode, it's too bad, because in that case, the release of the episode will be delayed for a few weeks. But even if we imagine that we will see a trailer, I'm 99% sure that it will happen in the next 2 weeks. And if we go by the pilot episode and its trailer, the release of the episode was 3 weeks after the trailer. And if the trailer will be presented to us within a week or 2, then unfortunately we will see the release in a month. And that's the minimum time frame. And what if the authors decide that we don't need the trailer and release the second episode immediately? This is much more interesting. We're only 2 months away from the tipping point. That's February and March. Let me tell you why March is not good for us. First of all, it's a very long time since the release of the pilot episode, and if the release is really only in March, the interest of a huge number of viewers will simply disappear. But February is the ideal time for the second episode because it will still hold the interest of a part of the audience. And also in favor of a February release are all the facts I said in the video. But even if it happens, I'm sure we'll have to wait at least 2 more weeks, and the release will be in the last week of February. But of course, a very symbolic date would be the 13th of February, because the pilot episode took place exactly 4 months ago from that date. Well, this is the end of our amazing and fascinating video. I really hope that you liked this video and you will put this video at least 1 like. And if you like it very much, I would not refuse to subscribe to the channel and your comment. I wish you success and good luck and say see you soon in new videos that will appear every 2 days.